June 6, 1944, D-Day. The Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy, turning the tide of World War II in one of the most ambitious and pivotal military operations in modern history. But what many don't realize is that behind this historic moment stood a group of extraordinary women, spies who risked everything to arm the French resistance, sabotage Nazi operations, and pave the way for the Allied invasion. Today, on History's Hidden Tales, we're uncovering the story of the D-Day girls, the unsung heroines whose courage, sacrifice, and undercover activities helped change the course of history. In the early 1940s, Nazi Germany had most of Europe in a stranglehold. France was under brutal occupation, and the French resistance, though incredibly determined, was outmanned, outgunned, and constantly under threat. This was a time of despair and uncertainty, with the Gestapo and SS units combing the cities and countryside for any signs of rebellion. People lived in fear. Curfews, rationing, propaganda, and constant surveillance made daily life a challenge. Yet, amidst this darkness, there were glimmers of hope. Ordinary people determined to fight back in whatever way they could. That's when Britain's Special Operations Executive, or SOE, decided to do the unthinkable. They recruited women as spies, known also by their nickname, Churchill's Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. The SOE's mission was unconventional warfare behind enemy lines. They needed stealth, cunning, and the element of surprise. But why women? The rationale was deceptively simple. Women were often overlooked by German patrols and Nazi authorities. They could blend in as couriers, housewives, shopkeepers, or even journalists, moving through enemy territory largely unnoticed. By using women, the SOE created a powerful intelligence network right under the nose of the occupying forces. These women were part of a wave of female operatives who infiltrated Nazi-occupied Europe. Their tasks were many: gathering critical intelligence on German fortifications, establishing hidden wireless stations, working with local resistance to orchestrate sabotage, and even training new recruits. From the heart of Paris to the remote countryside, they became the eyes and ears of the Allied forces. They earned the enduring name the D-Day Girls because so many of their critical operations laid the groundwork for the success of the Normandy landings on June 6, 1944. So, what exactly did these clandestine warriors do to aid the Allied cause? In essence, they formed the backbone of an intricate network of sabotage that stretched across France, focusing especially on the northern regions closest to Normandy. Working closely with local resistance groups, they planned the disruption of German communication lines, arranged for the supply of arms and explosives, and coordinated meticulously timed attacks on strategic targets. Their efforts had one overarching goal: weaken Nazi defenses in preparation for an invasion that most believed was inevitable, yet whose location and timing remained a tightly guarded secret. Some of the missions involved high-profile targets, like German officers or large munition depots, while others were more subtle, such as tampering with railway tracks or supply trucks, ensuring mechanical failures or disruptions at just the right time. Collectively, these acts of sabotage slowed Nazi response times and created confusion and disarray within the ranks. The D-Day girls also played a key role in establishing safe houses and escape routes for Allied pilots and paratroopers shot down behind enemy lines. They were essential in guiding these men across Nazi territory, sometimes providing them with civilian clothing, false papers, and knowledge of backroads to reach the Spanish border or coastal points for extraction by submarine. These rescue efforts were more than just morale boosts. They preserved valuable Allied manpower and intelligence. They also fostered a sense of cooperation and unity between disparate resistance networks. Working together, they weaved a tapestry of opposition that the Nazi forces could never fully untangle. To reduce the risk of capture, these women constantly changed appearances, rotating through wigs, outfits, and false identities. They memorized new backgrounds, complete with plausible family histories, hometowns, and occupations, so thoroughly that they could calmly present them under the harshest interrogations. They learned how to answer questions in a way that deflected suspicion, never revealing too much detail, yet offering enough authenticity to fool even the most relentless Nazi officer. And while they were trained extensively, no amount of classroom preparation could replicate the sheer terror of a real interrogation. The knowledge that capture often meant torture, deportation to a concentration camp, or execution weighed heavily on every operative's mind. Violette Sabo's capture was equally harrowing. After a fierce gun battle with Nazi forces, she was seized and interrogated. Despite her young age, she had proven herself adept at guerrilla warfare, even teaching local resistance fighters advanced techniques. Yet once captured, she faced the dreaded inevitability of a Nazi prison. Multiple eyewitness accounts highlight her extraordinary courage in captivity, doing her utmost to shield her fellow operatives from suspicion. Sadly, her fate was sealed when she was transferred to Ravensbrück, where she faced execution in early 1945. But her stoicism and refusal to capitulate became legendary, inspiring future generations to remember her name. In the aftermath of the war, the stories of these female operatives gradually came to light. Some, like Odette Sansom, returned home to recognition and medals. Odette received the George Cross, the highest civilian honor for gallantry, presented personally by King George VI. Others, like Lise de Baissac, carried on quietly, avoiding the limelight. For years, many of these women remained silent about their exploits due to the Official Secrets Act and personal trauma. Some had lost close friends, others had endured unspeakable experiences in concentration camps. Talking about their missions often meant reliving painful memories they preferred to keep buried. Their story also resonates on a broader social level. Before the war, women's roles in many countries were still narrowly defined, but the war effort required the mobilization of everyone, regardless of gender. This included factories, fields, and, crucially, the clandestine world of espionage. The exemplary service of these women did more than just help end a global conflict. It accelerated the push for women's rights, recognition, and equality in the post-war era. But their legacy isn't merely carved in stone. It's also woven into modern intelligence agencies and armed forces. Today, women serve in a wide array of military and intelligence roles, from field operations to high-level strategic planning. The notion that bravery and capability know no gender, once a radical idea, has become a foundational principle of many modern militaries. Where once women like the D-Day girls had to fight just to get a chance to serve, now we see female special forces, fighter pilots, intelligence officers, and more playing integral roles around the world. Standing on these beaches, it's impossible not to feel the weight of history. Men from the United States, Britain, Canada, and other allied nations fought and died here on June 6, 1944, in a daring push to liberate Europe from Nazi tyranny. But let's not forget the quiet but furious battle that raged behind enemy lines in the months and years leading up to that day. The D-Day girls, through acts of sabotage, espionage, and sheer courage, helped secure the success of Operation Overlord. Without them, the landings might have faced an even stiffer German defense, leading to a drastically different outcome. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the lives of the D-Day girls. Their bravery, tenacity, and sacrifice remain an inspiration, reminding us of what it truly means to stand against oppression. They proved that grit and determination transcend any barrier, be it gender, nationality, or station in life. While the Normandy landings are etched into our collective consciousness, let's also keep in mind the clandestine warriors who toiled in the shadows to make that victory possible. If you enjoyed this episode of History's Hidden Tales, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories of resilience and courage from our past. Let us know in the comments which other hidden tales from history we should explore next. From the fearless women of the resistance to lesser-known operations that shaped the modern world, we're committed to unveiling the stories that textbooks often gloss over. Until next time, keep exploring the stories that shape our world. And remember that in the quiet folds of history, we often find the greatest heroes.